History is just packed with brilliant people. But what about the ones who didn't just think differently, but also, well, lived differently? Today, we're going to meet 5 amazing scientists whose unique personalities and, some strange habits were just as important as their genius in changing our world. So, what does it really take to change the world? Is it just about being incredibly smart? I mean, having a big brain is definitely a key ingredient, but it turns out that's not the whole story. Not even close. The other part of the puzzle is something a little more unexpected. It's this amazing mix of incredible intelligence and, well, a touch of eccentricity. That special, unique way of looking at the world that really sets these people apart from everyone else. So here's our plan. We'll start off with the original stargazer, Galileo. Then we'll dive into the super focused mind of Isaac Newton. After that, we'll meet a guy called Maxwell, the poet of physics, followed by the 2 geniuses who changed everything, Planck and Einstein. And finally, we'll see what they all had in common. Okay, let's kick things off with our first scientist, Galileo Galilei. This is the man who looked up at the night sky, just like everyone else, but he was brave enough to ask questions that would totally shake up what people believed for centuries. So, Galileo was born way back in 1564 in Pisa, Italy. His IQ is estimated to have been around 185, which is just incredible. And honestly, he needed that brainpower for his big idea, that our Earth actually moves around the sun, not the other way around, a huge deal back then. He was one of the very first people to point a telescope at the stars, and the things he saw up there helped prove his theory about the sun being at the center. Now, as you can imagine, this was a really radical idea, and it seriously shocked the powerful religious authorities of his time. And this right here, this was his special quirk. He had this deep need to question everything and everyone. He refused to just accept old ideas unless there was real proof. So that rebellious spirit wasn't just a part of his personality. It was the engine that drove his science. So if Galileo opened the door to a new way of thinking, our next scientist, Isaac Newton, basically built the entire house. Galileo asked why, but Newton came along and explained how, using his incredible focus to pretty much write the laws for our physical world. Newton was born in England in 1643, and his IQ was estimated to be somewhere between 190 and 200. I mean, just wow. And his big ideas are now the foundation of modern science, the laws of gravity and motion. It's honestly hard to explain just how huge his impact was. He figured out gravity, why apples fall down but the moon stays up in the sky. He gave us the laws of motion that explain how things move. And, as if that wasn't enough, he also invented a new kind of math called calculus, just to help him figure it all out. So what was Newton's quirk? It was his almost superhuman ability to focus. People said he would get so lost in his work that he would literally forget to eat or sleep for days. This intense focus wasn't just for physics. He was also secretly fascinated by alchemy. It was this total obsession that made him who he was. Okay, so we're going from Newton's intense seriousness to a totally different kind of genius. Let's meet James Clerk Maxwell, also known as the poet of physics. This was a guy who showed the world that groundbreaking science could come with a smile and a sense of humor. Maxwell was born in Scotland in 1831, and his IQ was also up there, around 190, and his big idea was absolutely brilliant. He connected 3 things that nobody thought were related at all: electricity, magnetism, and light. He did this with his famous Maxwell's equations. Now, these are basically a set of math ideas that proved electricity, magnetism, and light are all just different parts of the same thing. This one discovery is the reason we have almost all of our modern technology today. And his quirk? It was completely different from someone like Newton. Maxwell was playful. He loved to write funny little poems about his scientific theories. Can you just imagine that? A top physicist writing rhymes about electromagnetism? It just goes to show you that genius doesn't always have to be so serious. Now, for our last 2 scientists. They took the scientific rulebook that people like Newton and Maxwell had written, and they completely rewrote it. Around the beginning of the 20th century, Max Planck and Albert Einstein didn't just find new laws of physics. They uncovered whole new realities. So on one hand, you have Max Planck. He's called the father of quantum theory. which is all about the strange world of tiny, tiny particles. And on the other hand, there's Albert Einstein, the creator of relativity, which explains the giant fabric of space and time. Together, these two showed us the universe is way weirder than we ever thought. Let's start with Planck. He came up with this crazy idea of energy quanta. He said that energy doesn't flow smoothly, but comes in tiny little packets. That idea started the whole field of quantum theory. And his quirk? He was super disciplined and quiet, and he followed the exact same strict routines every single day, for years. And then, of course, there's Albert Einstein. His theory of relativity changed how we think about everything. Space, time, gravity, you name it. And his quirks are just legendary, right? The messy hair, the fact that he never wore socks, and he was famously absent-minded, probably because his mind was busy exploring the universe. So we've met 5 incredible scientists. We have the rebel, the obsessive one, the poet, the disciplined one, and the absent-minded professor. They were all so different. So what's the one thing that connects them all? Well, it's a powerful legacy of curiosity. It really does seem like there's a kind of recipe for this level of genius. Of course, you start with incredible intelligence, but then you have to add a deep, powerful curiosity. Mix that with a totally unique way of thinking, and top it all off with that little touch of eccentricity that lets you see what no one else can. It was that powerful mix that allowed these 5 people to completely change how we see our world. Their biggest contribution wasn't just their discoveries, but the inspiration they gave to all the scientists who came after them, passing on that torch of curiosity. And that leaves us with one last, really exciting question to think about. We've seen what these brilliant and, yes, quirky minds were able to discover. So what do you think the next generation will find?